Hey everybody, have you ever wondered how hot is too hot? I know there are some people who think that they can leave their dogs or other pets in the cars if they just roll down the windows. But I thought I'd do a little experiment today and show you how quickly it can get hot in a car even with the windows cracked. Hey everybody, so we're gonna do a little experiment today. Like I said in the intro, there are a lot of people who think that if they just crack the windows in their car, that their dogs or their other pets are gonna be fine if they leave them. That's just not true. And so we're gonna do a little experiment. I've got a thermometer in here. I'm sitting in my truck. I had the air conditioning on. It dropped to 81 degrees. And so I'm gonna start a timer, and we're just gonna keep a watch on how hot it gets and how quickly. I'm gonna crack all four windows, about how far most of us would, so that it's cracked about an inch or so. That way I'm not worried about people getting into it. There's a nice breeze outside, so following the logic of some people, some pet owners, we ought to be able to sit in this car and be comfortable and not have any problems. So like I say, we started out at 81 degrees. We've been going, I've had a couple of takes and a couple things so far. I'm about a minute and a half in to my little experiment. I've cracked the windows, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've been in the truck now for just over 7.5 minutes. My goal is to stay in here for 30 minutes. We'll see how well I do. Just in the 7.5 minutes that I've been in here and I've started keeping the temperature, let me show you the thermostat or the thermometer that I have in here. You'll notice that it says 87 and then 86. That's because it's actually taking two readings. This device here actually takes a temperature reading, and that's the indoor reading. And then I've got a second device. This also takes a temperature. This is what I have at home. I keep this out in my dog's kennel so that I know, what the temperature is outside, especially during the winter, but during the summer as well. I'm getting two readings on my thermometer because I've got them in two different places in the car. I've got one down low, and then I've got one sitting up on the dash, and so that's the 1 degree discrepancy you see. So in 8.5 minutes, the temperature has climbed from 81, 82 degrees up to 87 degrees, and it gets pretty dangerous for your dogs pretty quickly. One of the reasons that heat is such a dangerous thing for your dogs is that they don't have any way to expel or control their body heat. You'll notice you've seen dogs panting, trying to get, even on a cool day they'll be panting, and that's because that's the only way they have to control their temperature. Outside of going and jumping into a lake and cooling off that way, all they can do is that. On the other hand, people, we have several different ways that we can monitor or kind of control our body heat. You'll notice I've got a little bit of territory up here on the top that's going to start sweating if I stay much longer in the truck. That's one way that we can keep our body temperatures under control. The other way is our bodies will actually constrict or expand blood flow, depending on if we need to cool down or warm up. So as we're talking about keeping dogs and pets in cars, even with the windows cracked, the temperature's climbing in here really, really quick. If I'm a dog, I don't have any way to control my temperature and to keep that down, and I've only been in here 8 minutes. I don't know about you, but I can go spend an hour to an hour and a half in a Costco. Pretty simple. It's pretty easy. So we'll see here in about 30 minutes how we're doing temperature-wise. I'm going to keep you updated probably every 4, 5, 6 minutes, and we'll just see what the temperature's doing. Okay, so we're sitting about 35 minutes into this little experiment that I've got. You can see I'm still breaking just a little bit of a sweat on top. It's kind of, the temperature increase has kind of slowed. We're sitting now at about 94 degrees up on the dash, 89 degrees down in the console. Part of that has to do with the fact that we've had some cloud cover roll in. That's I can tell that there's a temperature drop. There's been a decrease in the temperature outside. The wind's blowing. It seems like there might be a little bit of a storm coming in. And the interesting thing is, even with that and with the wind picking up, I still don't feel any motion, any movement of air in here. It's still pretty muggy. I think most of us understand the fact that we can't leave dogs in a car with the windows up, but I'm afraid that there are a lot of people who think that they're okay, and that their dogs aren't being, that their dogs aren't in danger if they crack the windows a little bit. The reality is, even with the windows cracked, the temperature in this car, it jumped up 10 degrees in a matter of 15 minutes. And then when the clouds rolled in, it still continued to increase another 3 or 4 degrees over the next 15 minutes. And I live in the arid mountain state of Utah, and there's no humidity. I guess there's a little bit of humidity. Down on the console, I've got 19% humidity. Up on the window, there's 26% humidity. Some of you don't ever see humidity that low at any point of the year. You add a humidity index or percentage of 50 or 60 or 70%, and that is going to really speed up how fast this cab gets hot. The cab of a car just becomes an oven, even with these windows cracked. And so, yeah, I just wanted to do the video because I think there are a lot of people who mistakenly think that they're doing their dog a favor, that their dog gets to come on a trip with them, and as long as they crack the windows, their dog's going to be fine. And that's just not the case. Like I say, it took 15 minutes for the temperature to jump in here a whole 10 degrees. And so I just, listen, if we're going to own dogs, we've got to be responsible for them. I did find in just a little bit of research, I found there are 22 states that either make it illegal for you to leave your dog unattended in a vehicle, or have made it legal for pedestrian or bystanders. If somebody walks past your car and your dog is inside in a sweltering heat, even if your windows are cracked, and they feel like your dog's endangered, they can break your windows. They can do whatever they can or whatever they need to get your dog out of the vehicle, and they're not held liable for any of the damage to your vehicle. So if the health of your dog isn't enough influence, then maybe you love your car enough that you'll keep your dog safe. If you've got to run trips, run errands, leave your dog at home. Make sure that they've got shade and water, and then that just ensures a healthy, happy pup. Thanks for joining me. I'm Brian with Easy Retriever Training, and we'll check you out next. We'll see you next week on our next video.